Good afternoon, Head2Head listeners. This is Chris.
Hey guys, this is Scott.
And we hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday afternoon/evening.
This week is flying by.
It is. It is. We got a lot of things going on, man, here in not only Head2Head but personal lives too, right? I mean, you got some other things going. Well, you know you're doing some other things outside of Head2Head.
I lost 3 pounds.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I'll find them this weekend though.
Well, actually,
they never run away from me.
Well, you know what I just did before this thing, so I'm right there with you, losing some weight.
Oh man.
Yeah, buddy.
How you been anyway? All right.
Hey, man, I'm living and breathing, and I'm here on this fine, nice and cool day. Little undercast. What is considered overcast, right?
Overcast, low ceiling, no helicopters flying today.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, well, tell me, man. I heard we got a good interview today.
Yeah, we got a great interview.
Okay.
We're gonna switch gear here, folks. Usually we come on with kind of some pertinent resources to help our military and things transitioning. But we feel like we wanted to lighten it up a little bit, considering State of the Union address last night and all the nonsense going on in politics, obviously affecting our day-to-day, regardless if whatever party you're on. So we can all unite here on this one here today. It's going to be a conversation with a young lady who's really making a nice mark in the entertainment world. She's been featured in TV shows like White Collar, Curb Your Enthusiasm, even The Young and Restless, believe that or not, back in 2014. My grandmother used to watch that shit.
Because she's young, isn't she?
She's very young.
All right.
Very young, but now she's had some episodes under her belt under Fox's new show 911.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm real excited to hear about kind of that. I mean, those are some very big. I mean, if you don't watch it, you still know those shows exist, right or wrong?
Right. Yeah, I know. I don't watch it. I know they exist. Well, I watch How I Met Your Mother. That's a good show.
Wasn't Curb Your Enthusiasm like a Jerry Seinfeld type thing? Is it? Because I'm not understanding. Because I didn't have HBO or whatever.
Yeah, they had that Larry. I don't know his name.
He was a writer or something, right?
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I know the guy's face. I just don't know the actual show itself. But I mean, I've never watched the show.
But it gets rave reviews, right?
It's supposed to be one of the best shows that ever came out. Not but one up there in the top 1,000.
I'd be interested to hear if that's top 1,000. This guy said. I'd be interested to hear if that show is better than Seinfeld.
Not in my opinion. No. I think it's an HBO show, so feel free to knock that out whenever you get a chance.
That's a lot.
Go ahead and sit down on the weekend and just knock it out.
So we're gonna be getting in with a young lady by the name of Rachel Breitag. Again, she's been featured on White Collar, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Young and Restless, Fox's 911. She's also a model. I believe that's how she started her career as in the model. She was doing some things with QVC and some other things.
I saw that online.
Yeah, she's been
That's how you know somebody's local to the area when they're on QVC.
Well, she's right here in Bucks County.
That's what I'm saying. Because all the big wigs that get their start were on QVC at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just think it's fascinating that young lady from Bucks County is actually out in Hollywood now doing her thing. I mean, I just
well, a lot of people talk about escaping, right? But they never actually escape.
Yeah, so that's impressive enough, right? But she made a move,
right?
And
we'll have to ask her how that went, what that decision came to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very important topic. Just in general for our listeners who are going to make a move such as leaving the military. I mean, that transition in itself is kind of scary, right? I mean, when you leave the military...
Yeah, but now you're leaving home, going across country on your own, at least in the military. You know you're getting a paycheck. You know you're going to have housing.
Well, they provide a moving company as well. That's pretty much what I got out of that deal. They're like, here's a moving company. Where are you going? I was like, well, Philadelphia. And they're like, see you later.
All right.
That's a true story. So I don't know about paychecks. Maybe am I missing a couple paychecks?
Well, yeah.
Did they owe me a couple paychecks?
You go to Hollywood, you don't get paid, brother.
Yeah, but she had a nice foot in the door with QVC, and then
right,
kind of doing her thing.
Eventually, you got to give everything up to go do something else.
Yeah, but either way, it's still a scary situation to transition from anything in life. I'm trying to relate it to military transition.
I know what you're trying to do.
So
we're not military anymore. We're civilians, so we might as well be nasty and be a nasty civilian as it is, and go ahead and talk about civilian.
The fact that I got my shirt tucked in right now, Devil, is pretty impressive. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear from Miss Rachel about how she kind of picked up from Bucks County and went over to Hollywood. So I think we might actually have her on the line here. Is Miss Rachel there?
I'm here. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Rachel, it's Chris,
Doing well.
and this is Scott.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you, Rachel.
Chris. Hi, Scott. Likewise.
I'm sure you're not missing this East Coast weather either.
Sometimes you'd be shocked, but we miss the snow sometimes.
Lies and
I
deceit.
know, she just got on the phone and she's already telling fibs.
I see how this conversation is going to go straight from the top.
That's all right.
It's going to be fun, guys.
She is an actress, so she have to be careful because she might be put on a show.
She might get
she might be
Touche.
You know what I mean? You got to be careful now.
Well played. Well played. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
You're gonna kind of break the monotony. What we do here is we reach out to a lot of different people, either focusing on Veterans Affairs, transitioning careers, resume building, things that are just kind of important for military folks when they're either thinking about going into the service or they're thinking about leaving the service, or for our veterans out there who've left the service and quite frankly they just don't know what the next steps are. So kind of segueing into kind of more of the entertainment aspect of what we're trying to do and bring awareness to some other aspects of just life and that kind of stuff aside, and obviously politics aside, because that always brings kind of bad things regardless. We're starting to get over into the entertainment and kind of lighten things up, and kind of how we're starting it with you is I know you're from the Bucks County area.
I am.
Philadelphia area, we'll say for all of our listeners, so
right,
because nobody knows Bucks County really, right?
But she's a small town girl, and then she picked up and she made a decision, and we want to get into that kind of and moved out and followed her dream, so to speak, and so like I was in our intro here, you've been featured in quite a lot of known shows. Stuff as Curb Your Enthusiasm, White Collar. Obviously, Fox's 911, and then I was looking through some of your profile here, and the one that spoke to me really, because my grandmother and myself used to watch it when I was a little bit younger, was The Young and Restless.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Mine was White Collar, because I love that show. No, I do. Neil Caffrey and all them? Oh, man, there were some bad dudes stealing all those paintings and everything like that. Yeah, Chris has no clue. He's looking at me backwards here. He's like, I have no clue about that show.
But he knows about The Young and Restless.
Right. Well, that's that old soul he is.
Yeah. So.
Young and restless old soul.
So, Rachel, again, we appreciate you coming on, and I just kind of want to get into kind of how you fell into the acting profession. From my understanding, you were also did some modeling in QVC. Is that how you got started, and the passion to kind of pursue it and build on that, or how did that?
Yeah.
How did this all come about for yourself?
That's a great question. I'm kind of trying to figure that out. First of all, guys, I want to say I love what you guys are doing. My dad's a vet, so kudos to you guys on this podcast.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I guess it kind of started. I was a weird kid, guys. Let's just
we
be
all were
honest. I was weird. I was awkward, and somebody suggested to my parents that they put me into community theater.
Okay.
And so it actually started with the acting bug as a kid. And a little fun fact, my first role ever in community theater was the lead role in Peter and the Wolf, and I played Peter.
Okay.
So, yeah. So
I couldn't land the wolf, huh?
You know what? I tried.
I'm just teasing. Go for it.
But yeah, it started as a kid in acting. And then when I was 16, I got scouted by some modeling agents. And my, theater route kind of took a modeling route, and it was good. They were both in the entertainment industry. They were both a creative outlet. And I started modeling at QVC when I was, 19, I think. So, and I still come back to QVC. We know QVC's in Westchester, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. So I have a couple of clients that I still fly back for. I love, a lot of the people and the vendors that I got to work with at QVC. It's a cool experience, but it's 24 hours live television. I don't know if you guys know what that's like to be up at 2 a.m. and trying to look your best, but it's not fun.
Well, I don't know about looking your best.
Tough.
No, definitely not working my best, but not looking my best by any means.
Showing up to the fight, maybe, but Never. But
Yeah.
listen, Rich, I can't even wake up and look my best. So kudos to you for looking your best
But
24
that's how
hours.
you got to get it. See, she's telling you what she's telling you. She actually put in the hard work at 2 a.m.
Right.
So nobody can say anything to her. She put in her legwork.
No.
Well, luckily I didn't really have to speak much. I just kind of acted like I was awake. See, there was acting involved in that too.
You were
acted
you were the
I was
hand
awake
model.
until
You were
morning.
like the hand model person that just stood in the background and like twisted with the purse on and stuff like that.
So you've watched QVC, is what you're
Listen,
saying?
I would never admit that. How dare you, Rachel, bring that up at this point in my life? I am 37 years old. You will never bring that up. But go ahead. So just say yes and we'll move along.
So yes,
Before I
that was
embarrass
me in the
myself
background
here.
that you've seen. Yeah, so I was doing QVC for a while, starting at 19, and still doing the acting thing through there. And you know, when you're growing up in Philadelphia, it's considered in the industry a smaller market,
Mhm.
but it's still a decent market. So I would do national commercials. Did some small TV shows that filmed out of Philadelphia or New York. And then I went to school. I lived in New York City for a couple of years, and I went to the Lee Strasberg Institute
Okay.
and really fell in love with acting there. And that's kind of what sparked the move to LA and really putting all of my focus into acting and the entertainment industry.
Uh-huh. So you kind of you really made you made two big jumps in your life. And going from Philly to New York, even though people think it's not far, it is a big jump because it's a whole different world, right?
Oh, it's completely different.
So and now a whole another world is going from New York to LA. It's still busy, but that's a whole different culture, whole different world. I mean, you got to throw away all your jackets. That's a huge detriment to your health. You know, no, women don't empty out their closets. That's the thing, man.
This is
Yeah,
true.
so
I
It's
know.
also
tell me,
very
bro.
true.
I live with the woman that everything. You talk about shoes. She got shoes for days.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm gonna digress before I get myself in trouble.
Yeah, I know. We can't talk about
Hey,
that.
I love that woman. She got my daughter a bunch of great shoes, so I respect her fashion style.
No, I appreciate that.
You get that in writing real fast.
Well, apparently she signed my name to that card too, so I'm kind of, but I didn't
Okay.
know, but I did
So
know.
thank you to you,
I was
Chris,
there.
as well.
I was there, but no problem at all. Well, you know, so speaking of that woman, we actually a couple weeks before we even thought to even reach out, is we watched one of your, I think it was your directorial debut for Immoral.
Immoral, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that very fascinating. First off, it's on Amazon. At least that's where I found it, Amazon Prime.
What's Amazon?
Yep.
What's Amazon? Well,
Imagine if somebody said that nowadays.
no, there's nobody in
I
ever.
know. Be like, what's Amazon?
There's nobody in ever that could say what's Amazon. Nobody.
You just hand him a shovel and say, start digging.
Yeah.
Because you're done for.
So I find it unique. So you started at QVC, and now here we are, where you're now going through some shows about a boy you were in, some different other shows, obviously, and now you're actually taking the bull by the horns, so to speak. I don't know what the lingo is, but now you're producing and directing films. I mean, how was that change? Because I know that film right there, even though it was a short film, it was actually very good acting by yourself and the gentleman that was in that as well. We were kind of mesmerized just by the fact that here you are on Amazon and we're watching this.
Because
like, wow.
you know her, so you know who she is, and right, your wife knows her, and then you see her, and she's got to play a whole different part.
Yeah, but it was just like, wow, this is actually pretty cool.
How do you turn that on and off anyway, Rachel? How do you like really get in character? Are you a what do they call them? Like
Character?
No.
Method
See,
actor.
Yeah. See, come on,
Method
man.
actor.
Can I get one? Can I get one word out?
Never.
Like I had that in my head. I was gonna pull that out, and Chris jumped on it. But go ahead.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
That
Thank
was
you.
impressive.
Thank you. So,
And
yeah.
yes, I am a method actor.
Okay. So how deep have you gone?
So, I mean, we can get deep about what a method actor is,
Right.
per se, but as far as, you know, switching on and off, I think that it's really important to, when you're in front of a camera or you're on stage, you turn it on. And I think that there's an art to that. And then as soon as you go back into real life, there's no more character. There's no more acting.
You mean after the complete show is filmed or the movie's filmed, or between sets?
Yeah, as soon as you leave set, even in between scenes, I think you got to you come back to Rachel.
Okay.
And I think that there's a lot of stories out there about actors who kind of stay in character for like months at a time.
Right.
And
Ben
we
Stiller
end
is
up,
one.
yeah, I don't know exactly know who, but yeah. And so we hear these stories, and we almost, even artists and actors kind of put this respect on that and this admiration. And I think there's a greater admiration if you're able to kind of turn it off and you can just jump into character, jump out of character, because you got to be real in real life. You got to be a person. I can't come home to my husband and, you know, be Tatiana or be whoever I was on stage or on set.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is Heath Ledger, right? They say that him portraying the Joker is kind of what led him to ultimately. I mean, that's what they suggest.
I'm just gonna call it like it is. Like, read an article years ago. Method actors, and this is nothing towards you, but the ones that take it real deep, like Rachel saying you can't turn it on and off, actually have a history of mental illness, and it's not a negative thing. Like, they're very manic in their ways, and they're very detached from reality because they're focusing on this. And when that's over, they're done with it, and that's great.
They don't know how to go back.
Sometimes it becomes part of it. You actually, like WWE wrestlers, it actually becomes part of their lifestyle.
I see.
Has that ever happened to you where it's going to be silly? Have you ever gotten confused in that aspect for a couple minutes?
No, I mean, there's a linger, like when you tap into an emotion where, you know, say you have to cry in a scene and you have to pull a very sad, scary emotion. It's tough to kind of come out of that. You know, you get a little residual from, you know, tapping into that emotion.
Right.
But you come back to reality, and I think it's really important, especially for new actors and up-and-coming actors that are just starting to look at like what method they're looking to use for their acting career, is to be able to stay in reality and not you know, hedge that line of going in too far and not being able to pull yourself out. Because it's I can totally see how it can happen, and I know a lot of artists and actors who can go down that route, and they've kind of gone into a depression because of a role that they've taken on, or they've looked into a life, they've done a lot of research on a character or some kind of role that has actually, you know, played a part in their mental health. So I can see how it can happen, but I think that it does need to be worked on so that you don't go down that route, because it can be scary.
Now, how are you doing with like castings and all that, and I guess that's what they call them, right? Tryouts, so to speak. Is that something?
Yeah, auditions.
Auditions, yeah. Is that something that's real intimidating for you, or do you kind of go in and say, I got this, or do you kind of go in and say, man, I hope I got this, or I've never played this part before, so we'll see how it goes. Like, how do you get your mind right?
I will never not be nervous for an audition, because I do, you know, a lot of times you go in there and you're very hopeful to get that role. It's a great role. You think that you're perfect for it. But what we realize too is there's so many different aspects that go into casting a role. You know, some of it is politics, some of it is just networking. And then there's the talent portion. And I'm one of those people that, you know, I do a lot of work. I'm a very much prepared artist. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. I go in, I get nervous. But at the same time, you want to have that confidence, like, you know what, I put the practice in, I've done my work, I've done my part, and I'm going to kill this audition.
You're gonna crush
but
it.
It's still nerve-wracking. It's still, you know, that hopeful game.
Talking about preparedness and auditions, is there a role that either you passed up, or you know, they pick somebody else that you wish, damn, I wish I'd have just got that one, or I wish I'd have showed up to that one, or I wish I would have taken that role? Any of that has ever come out?
Yeah, you know, there was, maybe 4 years ago, there was a role for a fun film that was shooting down in Texas. And the role was great. It was, you know, for the lead, for this young woman who, it's a faith-based film. So she's very much following her faith and following a love. And there were some really awesome big-name actors, but unfortunately I had a scheduling conflict that I was supposed to go on to do another role in another film. And so I turned down that other one, and then the other film fell through, and then I had no film. So it's those little scheduling conflicts that sometimes can get you.
Sure. No,
And when you went out to Hollywood, you went to New York. Just as my curiosity. So to really kind of, you're making it big right now, right? Your name's out there. You're on different shows. Your IMDb is blowing up, right, left and right. And
Trying.
and you're trying. I hear that. And
Yeah, but you got a nice resume though.
well,
If you go on
this
that, I
is
mean,
my
it's
point,
ridiculous.
right? So
it's actually more than I. No, it's a lot, and
Thank you.
it's really well played by you. But go ahead, Scott.
So when you actually get started in this business, and this is always my curiosity. I know people can be discovered, right, walking down the street. But did you go to an agency and say, I want to be this, or I want to look forward to being this, or did you have an agency reach out to you, or did you just kind of start going to auditions and then all of a sudden agencies were reaching out? Like, how did that work, and how did that aspiration take place?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's actually probably the hardest part,
Right.
especially in LA, to actually land representation, land an agent. And there's different levels of agencies. So there's the boutique agencies that handle smaller roles, and then you continue to move up until you find that agency, like, WME or CAA. They're like the top agencies where all the A-list actors go. And just getting a meeting, because LA is so saturated with up and coming actors or wannabe actors or people who are just trying to break into the entertainment industry. There's so many out here that it's even tough just to get an audition or get a meeting with an agent. So for me, I was lucky enough to work in that smaller, industry in Philly. And because of my schooling in New York, that I had some connections out here in Los Angeles, and they were able to transfer me over to the West Coast agencies. So I was able to take some meetings, and I meshed with a couple of different agents and took them on as representation, and they are the ones that send me out on auditions. They pitch me to different casting directors, to different directors, and so on. But it's hard just to get an agent, let alone get an audition. So I think there's a crazy statistic, like 1% of actors actually make enough money to survive, to live off of. That's
Really?
why there's so many, waiters and waitresses that are actors.
That was actually my next question for you. And it wasn't like a derogatory, but how many tables did you have to wait? How many places you have to work at to really struggle and do the 2 jobs, 3 jobs to make ends meet out there? Because the cost of living is not low, so you took a big leap. So what was your struggle? Like, what was your whole persona when you got out there? Because everybody's an actor or actress, pretty much actress when they get out there, right? Even if you're waiting tables, I'm an actress. I've been out there. I've heard people say it. So what's your struggle?
Yeah.
What did you do to get through it?
Totally. So luckily, because I worked really hard in Philadelphia, before I decided to actually make that leap to come to the West Coast, I saved up all of my money, and I blew through that money in about 6 months out here in LA. And so for me, I actually picked up a network marketing job so that I could go on my auditions, I could make my own schedule, and still be able to pursue my passions. And then even opened up more avenues so that I could open up my production company and start putting my own content out in the world.
Nice. Are you shooting for Sundance with your films, or are you?
I mean, that's always a goal.
And what's the other one besides Sundance they have? I know Sundance is over in Europe, but there's another one here in the U.S. they do.
There's a ton of different ones.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I could go through a ton of different film festivals that are really.
But Sundance is like the one, right? That's the.
Sundance is pretty much like that. That's the one that mainstream knows.
Okay.
Yeah, Sundance is the one that everybody's kind of gunning for too.
Rachel, you're being a producer now and a director. Do you find a different passion, more passion, same passion, different kind of passion, as opposed to being the model actress?
Good question.
Or is it kind of a balance of both? Do you like being behind the camera but also in front of the camera, or do you like to do both? Or
yeah, I mean, so the modeling side of things, I think I always kind of did that for the money. That was always kind of like the job. That was the consistent bread and butter, and that was awesome, and I appreciate it. Acting, I think, is the creative outlet where I can, like we said, get out the emotions and, transform into another person for a little while. So that's the creative outlet. Producing is definitely where my heart is right now, and it has a much bigger draw for me in the long run. Because I want to put content out into the world that inspires and changes conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And, right now I'm just starting to scratch the surface of that. I'm still getting my footing in the producing world.
Mm-hmm.
But now also as a mom, I'm inspired by so many women that, I want my daughter to look up to, that I want my daughter to see their stories. So putting those stories out in the world and seeing all the little girls, and not just girls, but that's kind of where we are in the
Sure.
industry right now, is women empowerment.
Sure.
That's really the forefront of my aspirations, to put out my own content, my own voice. I've seen life, I've seen some stuff, and I'd really want to be able to inspire and change some conversations with that.
Well, let me ask you this hypothetical. In a perfect world set up in a Hollywood studio, are you in front? This is actually a two-part question. Are you in front of the camera or behind the camera, or both, in this hypothetical? And I'm gonna go into something else here too, depending on your answer here, because I just want to know, because
So choose wisely, he's telling you.
No, it's just because it's fascinating to me. It's just fascinating to me that somebody, and look, we're all pretty much the same age, but she's dabbled in a little this, little that, and done a whole lot in just a short amount of time. At least from my perspective, I don't know how that is in the Hollywood terms, but she's done an awful lot, considering such a 15 years you've been doing this pretty much. I mean, that's impressive. Yeah. So let me just get into what I was going to go into, and then you can, if you have an answer. Hypothetically, everything's lining up. Who would you like to act alongside of? Who would you like to be a part of? And then what would the movie or the show or something be? Just so I can get an understanding of kind of who you would like to act alongside. It doesn't have to be a man or woman. It could be one or the other or both. And then kind of in your perfect movie or your perfect show, what would that consist of?
I hope she says The Rock. That's my man crush. If you listen to the show, that's my man crush. So that's
then she's automatically in a blockbuster. At this point, she wins.
So she wins. So there you go. I answered the question for you. You don't have to go. Let's move on. Go ahead, Rachel. I'm sorry.
There you go. If you want the blockbuster and the money, you go with The Rock.
There you go.
100%.
To level up, though.
To level up. I like this. Level up.
Oh,
to level up. Meryl Streep and Al Pacino.
Okay. Ooh.
I mean, it's hard to get better than those
picking people.
Yeah, but she's going right for Meryl Streep.
I mean,
she did say level up, though. She let us know it was coming, though. She did say level up.
She leveled up a couple of times, brother. No offense to The Rock. I appreciate The Rock, brother.
I do.
But she said level up. That's like level 12.
Listen, I do love me some Devil Wears Prada, though. I do love me some Devil Wears Prada.
I had a feeling you did.
You know what I'm saying?
Who doesn't, though?
No, she sets everybody straight in that movie.
Oh, man.
I don't even know who Al Pacino is after Devil Wears Prada.
So would you be a supporting actress to these individuals, or would you like to be behind the camera?
I would love to act alongside of them.
Okay.
I think that would be incredible. Producing wise, just to see them act, I think would be such an amazing experience, because you learn so much. I think that their talent is incomparable. They're two of the greatest actors ever. So if I could act alongside of them, awesome. If I could produce something that they're in, awesome. I don't care. I just want to be around them.
Fair enough.
They're great.
Have you walked the carpet and seen any of these guys? Who have you really met besides yourself, right? Out in Hollywood, that is well known as well, that you really had a great interaction with, and maybe had a nice conversation with.
Well, I think the most interaction that I've had is on set. So, recently on 911 with Ken Choi and the actor, any of the actors on that show have been the best interaction, because I've actually gotten to have conversations and talk to them, and they're very down to earth. I've always had really great interactions with actors. I haven't really had any that I'm like, oh, that was not a fun experience. So everybody's been really great to me personally.
Awesome.
But yeah, even on red carpets, everybody's been decent and nice, and I haven't really had the interactions that some people have, we'll say. We'll keep it at that. I've heard stories.
Yeah,
I've heard stories and friends of friends, but
yeah, you don't want to be part of that anyway. Stay positive and all. So you have a little kiddo. You have a girl. I have two girls myself. How old's your little one?
9 months.
Oh, okay. So you're right up there. I got a little 5-month-old and a 6-year-old. So I get it.
Oh,
so besides besides being with your little one, how are you spending most of your time besides working and with family? What are you doing for fun?
Yeah, for fun,
you do podcast interviews or?
Podcast interviews are up there, guys.
It's number 6 on the list.
other than that, my husband and I, we like to travel.
Okay.
So we were just up in Napa Valley. That was a fun experience. We got to tour wine country and hang out a little bit.
Is there still a wine country nowadays? Or is it all
There is?
burned down now? I thought it...
No, it did, I think, hit a couple of wineries,
Okay.
but for the most part, it survived. It's
That's
fine.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. So you guys like wine, you go out, you go drinking, you do a little traveling.
Yes, that's been fun.
Any big trips coming up for you?
Not on the books yet. Hopefully towards the end of the year, we sometimes do an overseas trip.
Okay.
So last year we got to go to Barcelona. The year before
Nice.
that was Belgium. So that's been fun to get to travel, especially overseas, get some culture,
Yeah. And try some new foods and all. So what's next on the bucket list for overseas then? Still Europe? Or are you going to Asia or?
I mean, I personally would love to go to Egypt. That's definitely not within the foreseeable future.
Right. Of
But
course.
I would actually love to go to Germany as well.
Well, Egypt has what? Bollywood, right? So that would be, I think it's called Bollywood.
I mean, Bollywood, yeah.
Or is that
That's
India?
India.
It's India, right?
India.
Yeah. I was catching
Yeah.
up with myself.
You were looking at me like I had any clue whatsoever of Bollywood. I actually, when you said Bollywood, I was like, well, no, Dollywood is in Tennessee. I'm pretty sure.
This guy.
No, because Dolly Parton. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Dolly Parton, well played, young lady. Dolly
Yeah.
Parton.
She still looks good.
If I could act in any movie, I would be like the Burt Reynolds to Dolly Parton.
I would love to do a story on her life.
Let's do it.
That would be fascinating.
Let's do it. Head2Head and Rachel, Dolly Parton. Let's do that.
Done.
As long as I can,
happening.
I want to portray a young, not so handsome Burt Reynolds, so I can ride in the Trans Am and just like they call it a cameo, right? I hope that's what it's called. And I can just be in the background looking like Burt Reynolds and be like, that's not Burt Reynolds.
You know who I'll be? I'll be the guy in the underwear in the background wearing Dolly Parton's cowboy boots as she walked around in.
So you're gonna go
Well,
straight
this
Tom
got
Cruise, risky
interesting.
business?
What's that?
You just went Tom Cruise, risky business, but with cowboy boots.
Sure, we'll call it that. I'll slide across.
Well, that's
the
how
court.
that's how he got it.
If I can make Dolly smile,
He
I'll do
slid.
it.
He slid not a foot, and he won. But good
All
for
that.
him.
I mean,
No,
how
but
about
we-
that conversation? Now
so-
that just went down a rabbit hole.
Well, so speaking of up and coming trips, going back onto the films, I know that there was a couple short films here in the last let's call it 3-4 years. One being Choices, the other one Glass. That was out last year. How did those movies do? And then, do you have any upcoming projects, either in front of the camera or behind the camera, that we can look forward to here in 2019?
Yeah, so the short films are really great because they are big in the film festival circuit. So that's always a really fun place to go for connoisseurs of the film industry, where they can kind of take a deeper look at acting and directing, and some of the stories are like avant-garde and some of them are a little bit off kilter where your mainstream wouldn't really appreciate it as much. So the short films that I've done, Choices was an experimental film, so that didn't have the mainstream storyline. It was a little bit more avant-garde. And then Immoral was fun. That came from a conversation that I was having with Mess, who's the lead actor. I was helping him with an audition, and he told me this crazy story, and it sparked this whole conversation about like how far is too far, what does it really cost to make it, and how far do you go with it. So that's where Immoral came from. And then Glass is fun. I was just strictly on the producing side of Glass, and that is a dramatic piece that we did that touches on racism and family life. And so that's still currently in the film festival circuit. So it usually goes for like a year-long run, and we hit different film festivals along the way. And it's doing well. It's gotten some great reviews.
And where would you find that movie? Because there's a young actor on there. Forgive me for the last name, but I know his name is Alex. And he's actually, from the snips that I saw, he's actually pretty good on that. Now, forgive me, I've never seen the gentleman there, but this kid is, well, I can't say kid, but this young man is he's actually pretty good. He's pretty good from what I saw. Yeah.
super talented. He actually created the story. He's also one of my producing partners, and he is fantastic. The film will probably come out on some internet platform early next year, I'm thinking, because we're
Okay.
still going to finish out the festival run, and there's exclusivity with the different film festivals, and so Glass will probably come out early next year. And
Okay.
we're actually currently, Alex and I are working on a new film, and we're just in the beginning stages of writing the script and the storyline, and then from there it's going to manifest, and we'll go into pre-production and hopefully shoot that before the summer. And then I also have a docu-short. So I have a documentary that we're in post-production. We filmed it like 4 years ago, and it's a really crazy, interesting story about a transgender woman that was sold into sex trafficking, and the outcome of where she is now. And it's a really beautiful, sad, horrifying, but uplifting story that we're really excited to get out, but we're putting a lot of extra work into the post-production because her story continues to evolve, and we want to make sure that we get all the working parts and make sure that we tell her story to the best of our abilities for her sake.
Now, you're going to be producing that, or you're going to be actually doing both, or the acting side of that?
I strictly produced
Okay.
on the docu-short.
Okay.
Helped with some guerrilla camera work, but other than that, just producing and making sure that we get that out to the public in a substantial manner.
Is there a title yet, or is that yet to be determined?
It's called Natalie.
Natalie.
Okay.
Very good. Any young and upcoming actors or actresses that are involved in that we should take a deep dive in and look at?
Well, our director for that one is Nirav Bhakta, and he's an actor as well, and he's a fantastic actor, but also has a really exquisite eye for directing and cinematography in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a really beautiful story. He directed this docu-short, and it's going to be pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's outstanding. So we can look forward to a couple different projects coming from you 2019, as well as the short film Glass, hopefully coming out to be able to take a look at sometime next year, correct?
Correct.
Did you guys strategically call that Glass because of the M. Night Shyamalan movie that's out right now?
I wish we were that
savvy?
smart to. Yeah, exactly.
Good marketing.
Which I haven't seen yet, and I'm really excited to see that movie.
I've heard mixed on it because I like Split. I like the other one.
Split was so good.
Yeah, and what's the other one? Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Right? So I've heard mixed reviews on it.
By the way, all shot right around here.
Yes.
Well,
M. Night. He's
from
Philly.
Yeah. He loves it. He loves Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Well, I love it so much. He creates movies about serial killers.
Here's the neat thing. So when I worked for the city, there was a lot down down southwest, we'll call it. And when I was doing my patrol and stuff like that, there was actually a lot that they had old police cars, and that was designated for the movies.
Really?
So any movie production coming into Philadelphia would go to that lot, and they would take out police cars if they needed. The movie Shooter.
That's cool.
Movie Shooter used a lot of the police cars.
All of them, actually, in that movie.
What is that? Something Citizen, Jamie Lee Foxx and
Law-abiding citizen.
That a girl.
Yeah, that was a good.
That's a filthy movie. That's a filthy movie to where you almost because you want Butler to win, and he doesn't. Jamie Lee Foxx wins.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man. But yeah, a lot of those squad cars are used. That's my claim to fame, that I rode past a lot a few times in my patrol.
I dig it. I like it.
So we're going to tailor this over to our veterans and our current military, because we always want to give them options. And what I found, and the reason why this podcast came about is because of the trials and frustration and stress that comes with transitioning military folks, and even some veterans that either been out one day or 10 years. They go through different things, and we found that getting a job after serving in the military can be quite tricky. And typically we're talking about doing something in a warehouse or maybe a corporate setting, something in the sales role or IT or something like that. But we never really think about maybe some of these current military or even veterans that say, hey, I'd like to get either in front of a camera or behind the camera and maybe do some directing or producing. So coming from your background, coming up from Philadelphia area and kind of working your way through modeling and all the way through some pretty relative shows that have hit our airwaves, and then obviously doing your own producing and directing on some of these short films and continuing your work, and you've managed to make it in the Los Angeles or in the California area. What would you say to these folks that are thinking about coming out and wanting to give a good shot at, make it in the world of entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a brave act, one to join in the military, and then to transition from there is always going to be pretty tough. And I want to encourage anybody who's listening that may be thinking about going into the entertainment industry, that whether it's in front or behind the camera, both have a very, inspiring creative transformation. And so if you're in front of the camera and you're allowing your creative entities to take place, or maybe some of the past traumas, that you give that space to the art. And I think that it's very transformational and encouraging place for a lot of vets to maybe tap into some of their history. And then even behind the camera, or even creating stories, I think that there's a lot of amazing stories that need to be told. And whether it's partnering with somebody who's a writer and just telling your story, I think can be cathartic, as well as life-changing and world-changing. So I would definitely encourage anybody who has a history in the military to explore, the creative side of it. But then also, you can always reach out to me, brightfilms.com, if you have a story that you want to be told. I would love to partner with anybody who has a story that would change conversations.
Awesome.
That's great. Now, I was going to lead me to my page as you're speaking of this, and we talked because I have a daughter who will be 8 here in the next couple of days. Obviously, you have a daughter. Scott has 2. With so much focus on women empowerment, as it should be. I mean, you got this movie that's coming out, and I know it's a superhero movie, but Captain Marvel. That thing's about to blow the socks.
So excited!
It's going to blow the socks out of the actual.
Never heard of it.
Okay, but you will hear of it, because it is going to blow the socks.
What's it called? Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And they're making it out as it is, that she is the all power, right?
Okay.
And that's
Yes.
fantastic, right? So there it is.
I like that.
But I also find it kind of fascinating that they have a lot of these roles, but you don't see too many military movies other than maybe Megan Levy, or we can go back to G.I. Jane, but that's about it. And I'm not making a joke. I'm simply saying that you don't see a lot of military stories, whether it's a short film, whether it's a TV show, or whether it's an actual full-length mainstream movie about a lot of these women who served our nation and served our country and went into battle and did certain things.
That's actually a great point, man.
You don't see people making these movies. And I appreciate a superhero movie, but that's not real.
No, but
I mean, it's good for people getting into people's wallet.
Actually, you make a great point, because the Hollywood movies or any movies we see in general right now are all portraying men coming home from service and being disgruntled or having ailments, but none of them are actually about females. None that I've seen.
Well, I would like to see.
So that's actually a great point.
Well, I would like to see a movie. I'd like to see a few movies. I got whatever.
I think he's pitching you a script right
now.
now.
No, I'm a nobody, but I'm just.
Hey, I love it.
I'm just thinking that through it, because there's a movie out there that really bothered me, but it was great. But there's a lot of movies that bothered me, especially military. But there's one called Brothers, and Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, and there's another guy. My apologies on that, but basically what it is, one guy, Tobey Maguire, guy who played Spider-Man. So
Yes.
Jake plays the brother that's kind of the black sheep. His brother, Tobey Maguire's character, is Mr. Military, squared away, polished family man living in a nice home. He gets deployed, and he gets taken hostage, and they think he's presumed dead. So the brother kind of befriends the wife of his brother. They think he's dead, and they
It's Pearl Harbor all over
well,
again.
yeah, but see, the point is Pearl Harbor had Ben Affleck, so therefore I'm out.
Oh man, that's rough.
No, because I'm out.
But
But anyway,
you don't have to comment on that.
no, you don't need
She
to
might be
stream me
working
down.
with
No,
Ben.
you're
She might-
straying me down a
she
rabbit
might
hole,
be
bro.
working with Mr. Ben next
Well,
week.
then we can have a conversation
She
offline.
can't comment on anything like that.
No, I'm not asking her to comment on that. I'm asking her. I would like to see the perspective of the wife. If you're not going to bring, I would like to see the perspective of the wife and how
Oh, it's
that
like that
actually
song we
affects
heard
her.
the other day.
I don't want to see the brother
War-
moving
War
on the
is Hell
wife.
on the Homeland.
Right.
That's the song we heard the other day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But
About the wife cheating on the husband.
yeah, and I don't want to see that. I want to see. My point is, I would like to see from the wife's perspective something like that, or again, the military, the female military that went above and beyond and did a lot of things that goes unrecognized, or it has been recognized, just nobody has made that film to tell the story. That's something I would like to see, having an 8-year-old daughter, and give that power, because as much as a superhero movie is great and a woman empowered in a superhero movie, and that's all fine and well, that's not really teaching my daughter that she can fly and shoot lightning bolts and stuff like that. That's not real.
It's also about marketability, because they have to do what's called what is it called? Where they have like 50 people sit down and they do like a test.
Screen test?
Screen testing of it, and then they have to see if it's actually viable to even put money into.
Yeah, but maybe.
So it might not be a good marketable film, though. That's the problem. If it's people have tried to do it.
Well, I mean,
Anyway,
Well,
we're
when-
taking up Rachel's time here. We're crushing her. Chris and here, I just sitting here spitballing about hopeless dreams on our end, but no, I think that's a great idea. We don't
think
see
it's
any
a great
of it.
idea.
well, I mean,
I love. There's a big shift in Hollywood right now too, and the pendulum has to swing really far to one side before it can equal out. So I think there's a big shift to women's stories and putting women's perspective at the forefront of film, and even not just women but diversity in general. And I think it's going to be a really powerful couple years, and so that story might get told, Chris.
yeah, let's get on that, and then don't forget your
It's
dream.
like I'll start writing tomorrow.
Let's start it right now. But don't sacrifice your dream of playing Dolly Parton, because that's
Me or her?
listen. Listen.
Either way.
Either way works for me.
You can't be mad at anybody for saying that these days.
No,
Everybody's the same.
but
I'll put on a dolly wig. Maybe for Halloween this year I'll do that. Did I say that? We're on the radio still? Oh, man.
We are.
I thought I said that in my head.
Well, Rachel, so let's just kind of go through it one more time. Let people know where they can find you, how they can reach you, and different things for, obviously, if servicemen and women want to, act or, move forward, or if there's anybody listening that is looking for a producer for a film or have ideas, where can they find you? Where can they pitch their ideas and go from there?
Definitely. So brightfilms.com, and it's BREIT films.com. There is a section there that you can reach out and contact me directly. So if there's any questions on how to get started, I love helping, new actors, anybody who has a question on getting into the acting world. Feel free to reach out. If there's idea pitches, reach out via brightfilms.com. And then, as always, good old Instagram. Just look up Rachel Breitag, and feel free to reach out on that platform as well.
Are you on Twitter by chance?
I'm not on Twitter.
See, I looked for you the other day because I've been posting a lot of things on Twitter. We're getting a lot of feedback on Twitter for this thing here, for this show. So
It's like this thing here, this interview.
well, that's kind of my lingo, brother.
He's tired, Rachel. He's tired. You can tell when he gets tired. He starts saying thing a lot. He's like this thing, that thing, the other thing.
So we're gonna.
I think it's a Northeast thing, and I can appreciate that thing.
Yeah.
What? I appreciate that thing, Miss
There
Rachel.
you go.
See?
She stayed on
She
your
gets
side.
it. She understands it.
She stays true to her roots.
Well, but in
Definitely.
all seriousness, that in itself, being humble, is actually the most fascinating thing about you, Rachel, and I appreciate it. When I've seen you at different events here and there over the last few years, you've been very humble, and you give people conversation and give them the time of day, and that kind of goes against what us Eastern folk think about Hollywood in general. So I respect that, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure you're going to just keep doing you, and I think some big things are going to happen for you guys, not only in your acting, but also and just as important as your producing thing. I think a lot of good things are coming up, and hopefully our listeners are listening will reach out here and get some information from you, and and hopefully some of our transition military folks, and even other people who might be dibbling and dabbling and getting into this, will learn a little something here today.
Definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Rachel. We appreciate your time today greatly.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right,
See you
take
later.
care.
Take care. So that was Miss Rachel Breitag. Again, you can find her on Instagram. She's also on LinkedIn. Producer, director, actress, and model, doing a little bit of everything. And most important of all that, she's a mother. And I think there's something to be said, brother, coming from small roots here in Bucks County or the Philadelphia area, and kind of going for it, man.
I mean, that's a 15-year struggle. Not a struggle, but that's a 15-year hustle, right? To get to where she's at.
Yeah, but
that's amazing.
Like she said, there's 1%.
She didn't lose sight of what she wanted. She just changed. She
made it. She made it happen.
Molded her direction along the way. So that's great.
Well, think about this: 1% of actors actually make enough money to support themselves, and yet she had the wherewithal and she was proactive enough to get into a marketing job to sustain her life out there while she was doing chasing her dreams, which I think is fantastic. She just didn't go over there and blow through her money and go, I quit.
Right.
You know, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, she did. It sounds like she has her head on straight. You know, she took baby steps from Pennsylvania to New York to California, Hollywood area, and making a life for herself. So thank you for coming on the show, Rachel. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else is going on today, brother?
For me, man, rest day and working out. Yeah. Because my mind always goes back to there. And it's Wednesday, so I'm debating, do I have some grub tonight? Do I just stuff my face with something garbage, or I stick to this program?
Well, what I suggest you do is this. I suggest you go home, put on Amazon Pride, put on that Pride. I said Amazon Pride.
So you don't even know what it is.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And put on that movie Immoral by Rachel.
All right.
And watch that as you get your workout in.
Okay.
That's what I suggest you do today. And then as far as your diet, either drink some really strong coffee and then you can eat whatever you want. And I'll digress on what happens with that. Or just stick to your plan, brother, because I'm not spending $30 a month. I'm just put out. I'm not spending $30 a month and gonna away.
What's rest day?
Well, then just go home and watch the movie.
No, I'm gonna be good, man. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about a nice omelet, nice egg omelet.
After Dunkin' Donuts fake egg thing, you gonna eat an omelet?
What? Who went to Dunkin' Donuts? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well played, sir.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, folks, we appreciate everything. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we say it all the time, but you guys are continuing to grow, especially our YouTube channel. We are up to now about 1,100 subscribers and counting. It's growing.
Actually, today's a month.
In just 1 month. 4 weeks, 1,100 subscribers. Where we come from, that's a lot. We appreciate it. Feel free to reach in. And as always, you can check us out on www.head2headpodcast.com. You can find this episode as well as some of our previous episodes on the website. Also, check our scheduling. You see we're pretty much booking out with a lot of good guests here the rest of this month into March and into April as well. So that way you can think of some questions for some of these guests coming in. Send them over to us on LinkedIn or on our email, head2headcast@gmail.com. Send us questions over for those guests. We'll try to get those on. Also, if you guys want to come on our show, check our website out because there's a phone number there. You can dial in on a Friday firefight, and we can have a nice conversation about entertainment, resources, your day-to-day, your life, success stories, failures and overcoming them, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Also, you can hit us on Instagram and Twitter. What am I missing here, brother?
Nothing, man. Not unless you got some good old wisdom from the Lord above.
Yes, I do. Any extra bottles of whiskey out there that you have laying around, you feel free to send it to Head2Head.
Just email them over to us.
Well, no, you email and I'll give you an address that you can send them. Because I don't want two things. I don't want whiskey taking up room in your pantry, because that's not fair to the whiskey.
But your pantry's okay.
Well, it won't go in. It won't make it in my pantry.
There you go.
And a special shout out to Bird Dog Whiskey, by the way, because their apple whiskey is like apple juice.
It is. It was.
So with that, I'm Chris.
And I'm Scott.
This is Head to Head. Stay strong and stay safe, Warriors.
Take care.